All right, you guys, it is Jumbo Shark 19, and I'm back at you with another Dokkan battle video. And, I came across this thread posted today by Snowy Nemesis and or at Godslayer Mask, and really cool idea. Apparently, he's done this a few years in a row. He did it last year. I did not see it last year, but I also was not making content. Um, but this year, I saw a whole bunch of people on my feed posting, retweeting, and posting their opinions about it. And I said, well, you know what? That sounds like a really, really good video idea. So why not hop in and give my thoughts and opinions here? So, we're gonna go ahead and start from the top. So this is ordered in JP release date. Of course, Global got these guys later, so it's in order. I did actually take the time to order these as well. A little bit, it did not just happen. Unfortunately, I was right clicking, and it just kind of was randomly adding the tabs, for sure. So, we're gonna start off here with Gogeta. So let's look at Gogeta here. I mean, honestly, the first thing that comes to mind to describe this unit would be underrated. Um, I think he was underrated when he came out. Tough competition for sure, but I do think he was underrated a little bit. And now, would I say he's underrated now? I mean, I don't think so. That being said, you don't really see anybody talk about him, but you're still using him, right? Like you can still run him. You do have to kind of float him off, unfortunately, because you really see this raise his defense, and that's like, oh, we can stack a little bit, but unfortunately, that stack isn't good enough. The way the content is structured, there's very few opportunities to actually stack defense that meaningfulness, to make it actually meaningful, right? Um, so we have a lot to go through, so I don't want to spend too much time on each unit. But I mean, once he's transformed, he does become more dodge or die, right? Like that is his kit. He does have this, which I completely forget about. Great chance of nullifying Key Blast supers, and of course, that animation is just one of the best in the game as well. So, you don't see that too often, unfortunately, but this is your defensive mechanic right here. But he can still do massive damage. He still has a great link set. He still has a pretty good leader skill, right? I still think that's pretty good. This category is always just gonna have more and more added to it. Especially like if you haven't seen my previous video, I was theorizing that if a Dragon Ball movie does come out, which is rumored in a couple years, 2026, maybe it's a Daima movie, right? And then you could get movie hero Daima characters. I'm just saying, that'd be interesting. Anyway, so I think he's still pretty good and definitely one of the best releases of the year. He's a W. He's going to be on the anniversary banners, the 10th anniversary banner, and you're going to it's still a W if you pull him. So great unit, great animations, great soundtrack. They put a lot of care into him. So yeah, nothing more to say. Like he's just fantastic, right? Then we do have here Broly. Broly again, tough competition because it was really refreshing, honestly, to have such good how they were both so good because usually in years past it's like one was kind of way better than the other. But this year this was really tough because it was so even. Broly is just very powerful. He's actually pretty tanky before transforming, and then of course once you do transform, which you want to right away, he's just I mean, he still does great against the toughest bosses in the game against Goku and Frieza and Bulma. He can just destroy them. He does have type advantage, which helps, right? But I mean, what can you say? He's just a beast, right? Now there is one drawback, and it's not really his fault. It's just more of the fact of his domain. I don't know where it's. Let's see, is it maybe go here? entrance transforms, yeah, activates domain. And the thing is like we've kind of run into a problem where they didn't really think about like domains needing to overlap in order to get abilities, right? Like, you think of Goku Black, for instance, and he needed a domain. That's where this conflict really first started. And actually, when Broly came out, there was the issue of, because Tech Merge Zamasu was still a pretty good character. And his you need his domain, right? Like his you can't use his transformation. So it just it does cause a problem, especially with newer units that you want to use their domains, like Slug or something, right? um it becomes a problem when you need to activate it in order to transform, because you don't want to be stuck, even though he's okay. You can get by running him, in base for a little bit in some of these fights, right? But you want to get, him transformed, so it just you can run into some issues. But I mean, it's not necessarily his fault. It's more of a game fault. So I mean, Broly, I mean, one of the better releases of the year. Personally, I like Gogeta better, but like that's just because I'm a Gogeta stan. I just like Gogeta, right? So but I mean, in terms of power, it's very close. You could make an argument Broly was better, is better, and you know, I you make a strong argument for it, and you can make a strong argument for Gogeta being a little bit better. But moving on, I mean, we're just gonna get Beast out of the way now, right? Well, it's just, I mean, listen, I wasn't. It was a cool moment to see in the movie theaters, Beast for the first time. And I gotta be honest, I've warmed up to the transformation a little bit more, now that time has gone by, and honestly, I think that has to do with Dokkan, like actually a little bit hype getting the characters in game and using them. I mean, what is there to say? Like, definitely one of the best cards, one of the best units ever released in the game. Just in terms of power alone, I mean, he just eclipsed everything millions of times over. Fantastic animations. I mean, look at that art. I mean, it's just great, right? Um, and he's still a beast. Like you can still run him, no fear, right? Now he does struggle a little bit. When I say struggle, I need a kinder word because struggle seems too harsh, right? When he falters a little bit. I mean, even then, I think that's too harsh. But he can have issues sometimes with a little bit longer events, with like really strong super attacks. But I mean, most of the time you're able, like with a serious team build, like without showcasing something, like when you're going in there to beat it, like you're not gonna actually run into that problem too much. So we'll see with the 10th anniversary, like what the power creep looks like, because I think there will be. There always is usually, and it's around that time. So we'll see how he stands. I think he'll age gracefully still, but if events get a little bit longer, I think he will have issues with that once some of his passive wears off. But overall, just an overall great unit, one of the best ever. Um, Even not being a super huge Beast fan, it made me a fan. So great unit, great unit. One of the best of the year. They did not fumble at all. Not for sure. The gammas. So I just recently got the gammas. I never actually pulled them. I had to get them with coins. So I've been link leveling them. So I haven't really gotten a chance to use them. But I mean, I have, and so take that into account. Like I have not used them, right? But I have watched a lot of content with them. I can see what they do, and they're a cool unit. No one really talks about them anymore. I don't really see them being run, and it's kind of probably just because of the teams. I mean, artificial life forms. I wonder how they would do on Boo's team. I mean, I don't know off the top of my head, but like special pose fell off, right? Movie heroes kind of fell off, but I think could still be competitive. I think these guys could do good. You need to get Gamma One out. You want to, and that can, that causes problems sometimes because sometimes you'd want to use this strategically, the big Gamma Two nuke, the standby. But a lot of times you're forced to use it like in a longer fight. You're forced to use it early on, because you want to get Gamma 1 out who's superior in tanking, right? So it comes a little tricky. I think everyone kind of agreed they were the fourth best release um for anniversary, and I think that's a fair rating. Again, no one talks about them, and I don't know if that's really their fault. They kind of just fell off. And since I haven't really used them, there's not much to say. I think a lot of people, myself included, were really disappointed that we did not get Cell Max here. We were really hoping for an extreme Cell Max, like we really needed an extreme character, and Cell Max was like really hype. Um, so to get this, I think did take the wind out of a lot of people's sails, so to say, so to speak. And I definitely can agree with that. So I think that kind of maybe has hurt it over time a little bit. But just off of what I know, I think I think you could still run them. Like you just need specific setups. I don't know. Because their links, right? Their links are very specific. You want to run them with like Gamma 1, Gamma 2. See that's the issue, right? Gamma 2, is he really runnable still? No, right? So you have some issues. There's just so many other options, and that's kind of the issue they had when they came out. Was like at that time, it kind of felt like there was just so many other options. But still, some of the best animations, Gamma 2 Sacrifice, goated. I mean, what is there to say? So really good unit. You can make an argument a little underrated, probably. How they're going to age, they're not super tanky before transforming, before you use the standby. So you might have some issues. You might have some issues. Um, oh, Frieza. So Frieza's next. Um, I've used Frieza a little bit. I rainbowed him recently, all on one banner, basically. It's this. Those could have been Dokkan Fest. So what banner was he on? I mean, he came out like 3 times in a row, right? He was on like 3 banners in a row. Anyway, Frieza. So, I mean, he's got the extreme class curse where he just was kind of shafted. Where when he came out, he was very, very good, but he had no help at all, just none, and that hurt him to the point where like even it got to the point where too much time has passed, right? Offensively, like you can still see big numbers. Like I see shout out to like Vector. He has some really good showcases of units, and he'll. I've seen some good numbers from him. Being thrown up there on the timeline, but defensively, he just can't cut it. Now, I think if they release some sort of like extreme class version of like the trio, the LR trio that gives like defensive support, multi-turn defensive support, which Glorio does, right? So like Glorio, so think of Glorio. Um, a defensive support, maybe that could help him, but like it needs to be like a Frieza unit, right? So like I don't know, a final form Frieza from Namek Saga that transforms into full power, so has links that are going to be the same. Maybe gives like multi-turn support, defensive support, or like damage reduction. What if it gives like 30% damage reduction to the whole rotation? Something like that, right? Maybe you could get away with it. It depends again on the power creep, but I mean, as of now, like you're not running him. He never got the help that he deserved or needed. Um, yeah, there's not much more to say, unfortunately. He just got shafted hard. Just disappointing because he does have a really cool active skill. His animation to Death Ball, the Death Beam, is really 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 cool. So yeah, just disappointing. Just disappointing. Yeah. Vegeta. So Vegeta, I have not gotten the opportunity to use too much. I did not. I have really, really bad. I feel like everyone has like their their celebration where they either have really good luck or bad luck. And for me, it seems to be Saiyan Day. Like, just I cannot think of an actual like really good luck Saiyan Day I had. Majin Vegeta, maybe. I think Majin Vegeta I had pretty decent luck for. I think I pulled a couple dupes, but otherwise, just never any good luck. And no different. I did not pull Vegeta, so I had to get him with coins. Or did I pull him? I don't remember exactly. What banner was he on recently? Maybe. Anyway, So I've got to use him a little bit, a little late. He struggles in some of the newer content, short content with high attack right away. Even though he's guarding, he needs to get a couple stacks in, right? He's a little squishy turn one. Um, he can be a little squishy turn three, depending on your RNG, right? Like if you have him built correctly, full additional, and you get lucky and you get a double super turn one, that definitely helps. The more you can stack, the better, right? Does he? Yeah, because he doesn't stack anymore when you transform, right? So you can get away with him because he does guard, but he loses the damage reduction, right? Yeah. So and you got to be careful. More HP remaining when the character receives an attack for the first time in a turn. So see, he gets the buff if he's in a slot one, which he's not really a slot one character anymore. Like before, you could get away with it, but with some of the newer stuff, not so much, right? That being said, really cool card, really awesome art, some of the best art released. Um, really good active transformation. Great unit, great unit. I think for long events, he'll still age pretty good. Like if they still have some events, depending on the power creep, right? Like I think he could still hang in there. We'll see 10th anniversary. We just don't know, right? I think he still hang in there. So we'll have to see. I think he's built good enough. Stacking's always good, and he has a really good. What is his stack? Let's see. It's he gets 20 and 20. Okay, so it is a 20 and 20. Um, so we'll have to see. All right, sorry about that. I'll see if I can edit all that silence out. Sorry, I got interrupted. So back to Vegeta-san here. yeah, I think he'll age pretty good for long events. But he's a little squishy now. He just even with the guard, once he loses that damage reduction, a little squishy. So we'll just have to see. He does have that additional. Yeah, see, they really want you to put him in slot one, turn one and two, but like just with how hard bosses are hit, I don't know. We'll have to see. Still a really good unit. Not talked about too much now, but I don't know. I think maybe just because of his teams, there's just really some of these teams have fallen off, right? So I mean his leader skill, right, is pretty. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. Still a good unit. Still a good unit. See, his problem is he's extreme. Yeah, I was thinking like for the trio. I don't know. Does he get the boot buff? I don't know. Maybe. All right. So yeah, still good. One of the better releases of the year. One of the better Saiyan Day units, because usually the Saiyan Day units kind of have a little bit of a bad reputation of falling off. Um, little bit. It's like every other year or something. It feels like. I mean, Majin Vegeta was weird in the sense that he got better later once Trunks came out. Once Trunks and Vegeta came out, that made Majin Vegeta really good, and that was after. So that was interesting. Anyway, different video, right? Different time. So Topo. Oh, I love Topo. Where's my boy? There he is. Topo. I mean the Lorax. Definitely a lot of arguments had been made that he is or was underrated, and for a time, I think you could make that argument. When he came out, Special Pose got like good buffs. Like Dokkan did a good job with like releasing like good supporting units to kind of buff this category up. Like if we just go and look, right, like they were pretty good. Um, right, for sure. Ginyu was pretty good. We'll talk about him in a little bit here. This EZA was good. Uh, let's see who was recent. Dispo was actually pretty good banner unit for sure. One of those things, you dodge or die, RNG. Depends how your luck goes. But overall, he can. I saw some impressive clips from him for sure, right? So very, very good. Then of course you did have the gammas were runnable for sure. Um, some issues with them. I'm trying to think. There was definitely some easy A's. What other? Um, Yeah, I wonder what these super easy A's will be interesting if that ever happens. Um, oh yeah, you had the super easy A, right? Go Tanks was really good. So the team was really got a lot of buffs, right? So when Topo came out, he was pretty good, pretty good. Now you just don't see again one of those things you don't see people talk about him, especially because special pose just kind of fell off, right? Just it's one of those things like Goku and Frieza. Um, the stage before them you can't dodge, so it kind of takes Dispo out a little bit. Some issues there. He can get a little bit creamed, and even though he has type advantage, right? I wonder, actually. Maybe I'm being too harsh on him, but he fell off a little bit. I was never a huge fan just because I don't know, like this Topo is cool. I liked it. It was a cool moment in the anime, but I don't know. It's just Topo. Uh, you either love him or you hate him, I think. I wasn't too hot on him because like I'm not big on like giving full dodge. I just don't. It just depends. Like it really does depend. And well, I definitely see the argument for this unit for sure. Like more often than not, and I've seen it with video evidence of people that have it built full dodge. Like even with it built that way, like you're most often still getting hit, and like you're still having the struggle with his loss of damage reduction, and so he gets a little squishy. So um, he has a nullify key blast, but again, not a ton of the big bosses are using key blasts, so lots some issues there. But he's really good when he comes out. You just have to strategize it. But the problem is just the pieces around him aren't just don't hold up anymore. They held up good. I think they held up for as long as they should have. But who knows? Maybe the way the content, like again, we don't know what the power creep's going to be like if there will be. So perhaps maybe he'll have some uses still. We'll have to see. Um, special pose. Will that be getting any buffs? I mean, hey, right here, go tanks. So I don't know. Hmm. I don't know. He was good. He was good. They did a good job. They did a good job with him. They did a good job. All right, Ginyu. I don't have Ginyu. I haven't been able to use him. Only as like a friend lead, which isn't, I don't think, a super fair comparison. You know, for a Ginyu Force unit, like animations are once again spectacular. But let's just get right down to it. Meat and potatoes here. His super attack effects. This sucks. Just it's not like it's a cute idea. Like it's kind of like when you're talking about it like at the dev table and you're going like, "Oh, like what if we did it like, where they play the rock paper scissors and then, 50% chance and 50-50." And it's like, oh yeah, that's a pretty good idea. But then it's like, you play test that or you think about it and you're like, well, that's just gonna end up being frustrating because like, let's just be honest, the way I feel like if you're in tune with the player base, right? Like I know there's more, I know, and I respect it, right? If you're more offense than defense, but like, I feel like more people just in general are gonna care about that defense because the attack you're not gonna see too much. Like 50% chance to attack stack is such a low attack. I mean, just that stack is not very good, right? It just doesn't make it. And this is not like a super powerful like nuking character or something that has like a active skill that does a ton of damage. That stacking attack actually makes a difference. And again, he's just super specific. His just special pose fell off. Get these Ginyu Force units. They needed there's some rumors about there was some art for the physical one in the update. They changed some of his sticker effect or something. So there's some rumors that maybe he's getting a super easy A. But this Ginyu was not good anymore and really was not runnable even with this guy. You were kind of using him with Topo and making a pretty good combo. So just kind of a product of just him being a Ginyu Force unit, which is always going to have problems. So we'll see. I don't see like I mean, will this unit be viable if Ginyu gets a easy A next year? Which for some people watching this video, it's December 31st for me, but for some people it's already the new year. So happy New Year. It just I think it'd be too late. I think it's gonna be too late. There's nothing unless they start giving things like units that support via like damage reduction or something. I don't know. Then you just got support on top of support, and who you're. I don't know. Their teams are just. I mean, terrifying conquerors, right? But like he's. Their special pose. See, I mean, they're guarding. You need special pose with them, and that just cripples them. That just absolutely cripples them. You're not getting a ton of special pose buffs, so not a great release in all honesty. They were really good on one team, and then they just aged out like that. Still like a good unit. It just a lot of faults. Just definitely was not worth summoning for type of thing. Um, yeah. So Ginyu Force. All right, we're getting into the New Year's units right away. Um, or not New Year's. Say, what were these guys? These were the Dual Dokkan Fests for I forget. I don't know. I'm sorry. Let's see. When were their release date? 425. So when was that for? I'm losing it. I'm losing it, chat. This was a same time release. What celebration is that? I forget. Whatever. Um, Point is, this Goku is very good. I wish I had pulled a couple more dupes of him because at Rainbow, um, he's very very good still. He is a top tier unit at Rainbow. People have been putting some tier lists out there, and for some people, like he's still a top 5 unit, which I think you could make that argument, especially with like the way Majin Buu Saga got buffed And like I'm just gonna throw it out there. Let's just talk about it right now. Like if we get like a Vegito anniversary, um, this is just gonna be, I mean, a really good category again, right? Gotenks is a god. He's very very good. We'll talk about him in a little bit. Unfortunate, just unfortunate. They're purportedly getting an easy A soon. This Goku, the Goku that goes with this Boo. Anyway, point is Majin Buu Saga is still a very good team, and this is a very good leader, very good unit. He does lose his slot one viability in longer events, but he's still pretty invincible for a while. And then when you put him in slot two, you just need to get him supers so he gets some damage reduction. Um, yeah, great unit. He's gonna age very well, especially in short content. Like if they go back to making short content, he's gonna age very gracefully because he gets 90% damage reduction turn one. So, and he does, his damage. I've never been super impressed by it, but again, this is a card. I made this argument in one of my previous videos recently. He's a unit that really suffers from 55% itis. Like defensively, like he's gonna look still pretty good with this much damage reduction right away. But when this starts to taper off, you notice a huge difference between like using a Rainbow Friend and then the damage for sure. His damage, I don't know, I think is pretty mid unless you are fully rainbowed, and then from there, you're seeing the crits and it's very good damage, multiple attacks. Great unit. I wish I pulled more copies of him on the recent Goku banner. So yeah, great release, absolutely hype, great animations. Um, just a wonderful unit, absolutely A plus release, right? In Fat Boo, some people call him a skill check unit. Um, I am not super high on him, and I think it's again he suffers a little bit from the 55% itis where he like it's there, and I've seen the evidence, right? Like I've seen the screenshots. Again, shout out to Vector on X and many of my other friends. I've seen the evidence of Fat Boo like doing some work, right? I do think he needs some dupes. I was lucky enough to get one dupe off of Glorio's banner. Um, I pulled some Kid Boos. I could have been Fat Boo, but it's all right. It's all right. And I think that's going to make a massive difference. The issue I have with him is just at like 55%, he's just too squishy. Like he builds up, like he gets this 30% defense raise, which is really nice. Permanent stack, but like he's just a little too squishy. Even when you have all his stuff active, he's just a little bit too squishy for me. Um, but I've seen more evidence recently. Like he's still a very good unit, and I think Rainbow is where he really shines again. I was saying it in my summon video for Glorio. Like, if you don't have Fat Boo, like he's worth summoning for sure. Like he's a W if you get him. Even though I have my issues with him, like he's still an outstanding unit, wonderfully designed. Again, A plus design on both of these, making them different, um, but like also both very good. I mean, that's tough, right? To make two units different enough that just aren't like the same but reversed, right? Like when they came out with like the physical Super Saiyan 3, Super Saiyan 2 Vegeta anniversary and the GT one, right? Like they were basically the same unit just reversed. Stacking attack versus defense versus stacking defense versus attack, right? So it is tougher than it seems, and they did a good job where they made him very unique. His active is really cool. It's a ghost usher. You get full heal. His revive is very handy. You get it turn one. Just very useful. So yeah, they killed it. They did an amazing, amazing job on those guys for sure. Ultimate Gohan here is next. Not much to say. I only got him recently. Haven't really used him. From what I've gathered and seen, he's okay. Like you can make him work. Definitely a little squishy. I think he's not as good as he should have been for being an LR, especially. You can make him work. You can make him work. Again, he needs to be Majin Buu Saga. So that's the thing. You just have some issues where like there are just characters that are better. Like that you would want to run. Like, I think you could make the argument that the EZA Tech Ultimate Gohan is just flat out better, right? So you want to run that Gohan. Yeah, so you just have those type of issues, right? Where if you want to really run this unit, especially with the new Go tanks, right? Um, yeah, it's just not necessary though. One of those things. He's got really cool animations, no doubt. And he is good, right? Again, I don't have a ton of use myself, so take what I say with a grain of salt, of course. But he's just very kind of niche. Like he has his spots you could use him. As terms of like how he's gonna age, I don't know. It's not one of those things like he's not gonna like not get help, right? Like Beast is still really good. These guys are just. I mean, I was gonna make a video of like releases and this year talking about EZAs and stuff. I mean, these guys are just what a disappointment. And it sucks because these were one of the cards I got like really good like luck on. Got them rainbowed like super fast, and then they just never end up being good. Anyway, point of the matter is Gohan, he's okay. I just think you're dying more with him than like actually like, oh yeah, I'm bringing him because he's gonna help me win type of thing. So I could be wrong, could be wrong. We'll have to see. I need to use him. I mean, just flat out, right? Oh, it's already his turn. So I'm a big Goku Black defender here. Rose. I think now I gotta remember he was buffed, right? He was buffed with that extra attack that he got right here. They changed this. So he was buffed. But I do think he was a little underrated at release. Um, Not to say there was a bias because it was global first. I don't really buy into that too much. I do think there are some people that legitimately think that way, but that's not the consensus. He did struggle, and it's just his teams and the domain issue. I mean, that's that right. Like, just get down to it, brass tacks, if you will. His domain is just you want to use like you could still get away with using merged LR merged tech Zamasu, but you really need to have his domain out. Like you need to have that turn, those couple turns of invincibility, right, and support. And so because that you want to activate that after Zamasu loses his couple turns of damage reduction, right? So the issue here is that you want to use the domain for him, this brand new spanking domain that's really cool and is really powerful, and you want to use it, right? What does it even do again? It doesn't display. It's very strange. Um, Here we go. Raises super allies by key. That's it? No, right here. Super bosses get attack and defense plus 10%, and extreme class so it's 20% buff for super bosses. Wait, which I mean, super bosses are going to be extreme, right? So 20% basically super bosses, and then 10% for just extreme class. Anyway, point is very good. Um, I think underrated. Now is he runnable now? I think if you got like a god turn, he can't get super at this point, right? Now doesn't he have a great chance of nullifying? Yeah, he's got the great chance of nullifying. Again, what is it though? Key blast? Again, key blast. Where are you seeing key blast, right? Unless we get some key blast supers like from the big bosses. He can do some work. He can definitely do some work, but I think his time has passed. I mean, if we had a celebration tomorrow where this guy gets a super easy A, you know, I don't know, because the LR Goku Black was actually still runnable a little bit ago, but they don't link anyway. I don't know. I'm a defender. I liked this unit. I thought it was a pretty big W. He did get better, and I think he did get some more respect that he deserved after he got buffed. but he just never the domain issue just caused too many issues, right? Like super bosses, you want to run AGL, like you want to run AGL Broly, especially when he released. When he released, you wanted to still use AGL Broly, and I think you still do sometimes, right? And that just causes an issue, right? Like by the time you want to transform with Broly, you want to use you want to use Rose's domain, right? So just this has really caused a huge conflict with domains. Still never fixed. They really rug pulled us, bait and switch with the domain update they promised us. That ended up being a lot of nothing. Just a new mechanic for UI. That was just good mechanic. Don't get me wrong, but not it's not really an update, right? I don't. Anyway, just unfortunate. Again, I think unfortunate's a good tag. I liked this unit. I liked the art. I liked running his team. I like Rose's team. I think I like him in game more than I liked his arc, honestly. He's just fun to use. But very RNG reliant. Like this could be a frustrating unit for a lot of people, and I totally get it, right? Like, um, you're just rolling the dice so many times to see if you get the attacks. But if you get them to go off, like it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun making videos. I had a lot of fun making videos with this guy. Rolling, and seeing like, are we gonna get the supers? And it's like, yeah, we got like 8. It's like that's pretty good, right? So I like it better than most, better than most. So I understand though. I do understand him being low on many people's lists, but I still appreciate him. I still enjoyed him for what he was. But at this point, he just doesn't have the team to run, and the domain issue is still intact. So, and I think it's probably too late if they fix it. I mean, they still should fix it, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. We'll have to see. Cell Max, I got lucky enough to pull Cell Max and use him right away when he came out. Um, you know, I feel like they did do him justice in terms of like how powerful he can feel for his first few turns. Like the damage he's putting is still top tier damage. It's just I just never had him as high as some people because he really feels like a little bit of like a flash in the pan. Like you got to get him built up, and he's a little squishy first, But like, okay, he's got a lot of health on his team, and you can get away with it. And because then he becomes a tank for a few turns. Like those few turns when he gets built up and this defense recede. Once he gets this up, he's pretty good for until like turn 5, turn 7, where you want to use the active here, which is going to be useful for any short content. Um, he could still probably be useful, but like, that's the thing. I kind of found him like niche as well. Like I don't think his longevity is gonna be as. I think it's already kind of waned, honestly. I think he struggles a little bit in like the Goku and Frieza fight because it's just too long. Like any sort of long content, um, he's gonna struggle defensively. But he does have some big numbers. Big numbers, 999%. Goes burr for sure. And his art's really cool. His animations are cool. Um, Fun to use for sure. Really good staple of the Super Bosses team. Um, but again, I never was super high on him. But one of those things like if you have him rainbowed, like he could put in some work. Again, his damage is still up there. Again, like Dokkan 2024, like I mean, really, even though some of these are I said disappointed or underrated, like I mean, honestly, all of these have just been fire. Like they're animation wise, like there's no, some people criticize Rose's animations, but like that's the first one out of all these, right? That you could say that for. Yeah, just great units overall. Tech UI, so Tech UI don't have them, so can't use them. I'm gonna move this here, keep my spot. Don't have them, but I have used them a lot, and there's not much. And from what I've gathered too, especially from people that post on the timeline there, he's just dodge or die, and he's really not doing much until you get the domain. That's what you want, right? I mean, animation wise, OST wise, all that stuff, very good, very good, very good. but he's just not doing much. Like he's not doing a lot of damage here. This is still good. That's still good. But he's just dodge or die. His team's still really good for sure. Still has some. His team's still very runnable. He's still very runnable. He's just a little, just very RNG dependent for sure. The ultimate, just ultimate dodge or die. Um, Now some people might say I'm being a little too harsh, which to be fair, like some of the events he can tank some stuff even without dodging. They definitely did give him some defensive mechanics, but you're still dodge or dying, and you need to get to hit this domain. And again, domain issues, right? Who's he having issues with? Because who else has a domain? Um, hmm. Does anybody else? No, I don't think anybody else really does. You just got to get to turn 5, right? Let me see. Fifth turn, yeah. So it's just getting to turn 5, which can sometimes be tricky because he's squishy. This guy is ultimate dodge or die. He cannot survive. Normals, he could take some normals, right? But just UI has never been like super high on my list just because I've never been. I like dodge okay. I've always believed in the most part, like in the 3 dodge. Like I caught on, like I latched onto that pretty quick. Like yeah, I see that. I support that. Give your characters the ability to do everything. I believe in that, right? But like I've still never been super high on units where their whole defensive mechanic has been dodge. I've always been more of a little bit more friendly to stacking. So take that for what it is. Still, I mean, great art, great soundtrack, great unit. They killed it with his release. I wish I got him. Hopefully, there's rumors with the New Year Step Up banner, that he's going to be on it. So that's going to be a huge W if he is, because I would love to have him and use him and add him to my collection. So again, another banger, 2024 Dokkan. Jiren, the much controversial Jiren. I just say controversial because he should have come out way long ago for global for sure. I think they kind of fumbled his release, and just all honestly, they kind of fumbled. Like at the end of the day, what the sync is good for the game. I'm happy I was on the sync train, totally, choo choo, choo choo. All right, I totally with it. They just fumbled it, is all. They could have just done such a better job. I mean, my goodness. Um, but at the end of the day, we have Jiren in game. I got lucky enough to pull him. I just awakened him like last night, I think, though. I haven't gotten to use him. Um, I was never though, just from what I had seen, like Jiren, just I don't know, wasn't he's just not super hype for me. Like I think some of his fights, like I think some of that is hype, but like he's just not one of my favorite villains or something like that, right? Like it's like, oh, it's Jiren, it's cool, that's all right. But he does have really good animations. It's just yeah, he's all right. I think again very dupe dependent. You really want a lot of dupes. His standby is still fantastic. He can still be defensively pretty good when you transform. Right? Like what's his defense, right? He gets yeah, he's really tanky. Yeah, yeah, I thought so. It's just been him a little bit. I haven't, like I said, I haven't used him, but it's just again kind of a product of his teams. Like who are you running him with? Like you're running him with UI Goku, and then you're just like hoping not to die from a dodge, and like see, this is what hurt him for sure. Is full power Jiren's easy A. I didn't realize how similar those two arts were. Like his eyes are just open a little bit. Like they just made the shading a little bit. Yeah, and his mouth, of course. Anyway, not the point. The point is his easy A was not good enough. Not good enough. Not strong enough. So he's gonna be hurt by not having a partner. He's kind of hurt by not really having great teams. And I mean, let's just universe that's a joke. Um, I don't know, man. Like we'll have to see again how content's structured. I keep saying it and broken record, right? We'll have to see. Maybe with the lower act. See, the problem is he on special pose? See, why? Okay, hang on. I don't get it. He's on Defenders of Justice, but he's not on special pose, right? So that's the problem with running Topo, right? Like you need special pose character. It just becomes a mess. It just becomes a mess. He's cool. Shout outs to one of the best gimmick accounts of all time, LRAGL Jiren on X there on the timeline. But I mean, man, he just came a little too late, I think, for Global. I think there's no chance for him to really be hyped up, right? There's just no chance because we're gonna have anniversary, we're gonna have power creep, supposedly, assuredly, and I don't know, his teams, his partners, what's he do? But again, I am a little biased just in the sense that like I'm not a huge Jiren fan, so it's not like oh yeah, I'm gonna really really defend him in the sense. But like at the same time, also haven't used him, so maybe he'd perform a little bit better than I'm giving him credit for. Um, I don't know. I don't want to say that. I don't think they didn't fumble him. They fumbled the easy A. They fumbled the Jiren easy A. That's where I'll leave it at. Again, amazing art though. Still, like you know, yeah. Master Roshi. So one of my bigger one of my bigger shafts of the year for sure. I went pretty heavy on Roshi, and no bueno, right? No bueno. No good. Um, and it's disappointing because he's really good for like the Peppy Cows, and I was gonna make videos, which I still haven't. I haven't played it yet. Still gotta make the Peppy Gal videos for the event. He's really good for that, right? But that's kind of his issue is he's very niche, and I think he's kind of gonna age out. Like the way he's designed with needing Turtle School, so you're always gonna have Turtle School Gokus, right? But like he has an intro where he reduces damage, so like once that runs out, he's just squishy, man. He's not doing like a ton of damage. You're running the Dodger Die Bulma if you're running this Roshi. I wasn't super impressed with him on release. It felt very. This is the epitome of summon for me to help you beat the latest newest event, which was the Peppy Gals, like the Pink Zone, if you will, the people call it. Like this is the penultimate unit to help you get those missions complete and to help you beat Bulma. Because it's kind of a little tough to get some of those missions complete without this guy, right? So I've used him as a friend leader, and it's just he's just gonna age. I think he's just I think he's already aged. He's gonna age out very fast. Um, I don't see him sticking around. Like you're not getting Bulma units. Like the Peppy Gal units, you get like once a year, basically, unless you get like an LR Bulma, like we got thrown in, or the banner unit Bulma, right? Like you're not getting Bulmas left or right either. Or if you are, a lot of times they're free to play, right? So you're not getting a lot of Peppy Gals, and unfortunately, some of the Peppy Gals. First of all, he's not even on the category, so I can't even click it. But Videl, right? Videl turned out not to be so good. Unfortunately, Easy A Videl. I'm sorry, Videl fans. Just the truth. Um, so yeah, not super high on this unit. Good animations, some controversial animations, I guess. Definitely one of the more controversial releases. I'll just leave it at that. Interestingly enough, so take that as you will. But overall, just was never a super fan of him. But I also didn't use him, so it is what Just take that into account. All right, I'm gonna clear my throat real quick, so hang on. I'm just unprofessional setup. I need to New Year's resolution to get a different mic setup. That's what I need to do for sure. All right. Anyway, moving on. We're yeah. All right. We're talking about these guys already. Wow. Still have quite a bit left though. We're already an hour in. Well, if you're listening, I do appreciate it. I can talk about Dokkan a lot, so this is pretty hype. This is a really fun idea, and I'm really enjoying making this video as we speak, right? So I love this unit. I think they're underrated for what they bring. I do recognize their faults. They are a little squishy. You know, you do have to have a little bit of a setup. They can be a little squishy in slot one, which is kind of where you want to run them most of the time. Um, Part of that though, I mean, they do have the guard, right? But you know, some of the bosses are STR. Some of the main bosses, right? Bulma and Goku and Piccolo, Goku and Frieza. But here's the thing, man. This part right here, like I have not had so much fun in Dokkan in a long like I had so much fun with this unit when it first came out and can still like what this did to older units that actually did make them runnable. Like when we talk runnable, like are we talking super attacks? Not necessarily, right? But like there's a lot of new units that come out that can't eat this main super attacks, right? That struggle. So what it did though is it allowed units that you couldn't that were just getting dust on your box to at least handle normals again. And with the normal usage, like I mean, it brought these guys right back. I made these guys this was just a crazy combo. This is a crazy combo. Slot 1, slot 2. You're doing a lot of damage. Not so much damage wise here. They're a little disappointing damage wise for sure. But they're doing all the damage. They make them actually able to tank pretty good. And actually, these guys were able to take some supers that they couldn't before. Like that 77%, like you kind of looking like, oh, you know, 70%, you know, 77%, that's not that much. It makes a huge difference actually. And I actually want to I want to go to Super Saiyans because it not only it helped them, absolutely helped him. Um, Still dies with super, but if you get a couple rainbow orbs with the 77% defensive support, you're cooking. Right? You're cooking. Hello makes this unit even better than it already is. Again, I mean, look at this team. Look at Super Saiyans. Look at all this. I mean, let's not get. I mean, let's get crazy. You know, like, let's pull Michael Keaton Batman. Let's get crazy. Let's get nuts. Um, I had these guys rainbowed sitting in my box collecting dust. I rainbowed them after they were. I mean, they had a very short window where they were useful. They were very gimmicky. They're another one of those units designed really for one fight or one type of fight. The worldwide celebration fights, right? But they actually were pretty impressive on the trio team. They made them. I was able to run them and get quite a few missions done, running them on Super Saiyans, and they were able to, with their damage reduction and that boost in defense, that 77% made it to where like they were not runnable, to like you know you could get away with them and they can hold their own, right? I mean, think about it. It raises defense. Unfortunately, this unit didn't really get saved, but that's more of a product of like Cell Saga not really being that great. Um, these guys now with their easy A, I mean, my goodness, this defensive support are great. Um, yeah, you know, that's just great. When these guys get an easy A, when this unit gets an easy A, right? I could go on and on about all the units that it helped out. But I'll stop at this one because this is a unit that one of the first units I ever used coins for. Reddit told me the Reddit subreddit told me it was a good choice, and unfortunately they aged out very fast, especially by the time I bought them with the coins. By the time I asked, and anyway, so just to say they were a disappointment, and you know unfortunately their easy A. I don't want to say it was bad. It just it just was not it didn't really add too much to their shelf life. Um, but with the trio, I was able to clear some events. It's on the channel. There's videos with them. Any trio, I think they're a cool unit. I love their animations, even though we have a better one. I still like their animations, and it's kind of a fun unit. Just a fun unit. I've always kind of like just a little biased towards it for some reason. And yeah, they could take normals. Like it made them. They were doing really good damage, and they were tanking normals. So honestly, I love this unit. I think they're underrated. I still think they're underrated. Truth just did a video talking about uh, them being like he was rated them 10 for being like was it not disappointing but like frustrated or whatever. Unfortunately, I just think he's wrong. No, they're just a great unit. They're lovely. I love using them. I think they're gonna age pretty good. They're probably gonna settle into a slot two role. But there's always gonna be buffs for this category. Their conditions aren't super strict. Like all out struggle movie heroes is not excuse me, is not too bad. So, yeah, love them. I could talk about them forever. I mean, look, I didn't even talk about the standby. Standby is really cool, really powerful. Can hold up. Definitely want to pop it when you can. It's good stuff. Good stuff. For sure. Broly. I mean, the Brolys. I'll just go back to back here. Um, Great unit. I mean, he's invincible first turn. Um, if you could float him, sometimes you can float him and get an extra turn. Even when he loses that damage reduction to save his transformation, like sometimes you can get away with that. But you do have that guaranteed like 90% damage reduction. Just bar none, right? So that you have that confidence, very cool. And then when he transform, I mean, let's just talk about his transformation, right? No domain, which is cool, good, right? Actually, a good thing. But I mean, he's just a beast. I mean, he has not aged. Like, I don't think he's aged really at all. I mean, yeah, some of his stuff wears off after, but sorry, some of his stuff ages out a little bit after a few turns, but he's still really good. He just not slot one. You just put him in slot two, and he just does damage, right? Like he's still very impressive, very impressive. Not too much to say. Like I got a little unlucky. I mean, I did pull him thankfully when he came out. Well, he's only been out once, so I was lucky to get him. And I mean, he was just helped really by awesome EZAs. Like this is one of the best EZAs they've ever done. So they really, really helped out with that. And yeah, I mean, let's just go right into the Ent one. I mean, I think if you were, some people, I don't know, I haven't seen like a ton of people say like the Ent one is like better than the Tech one. I think most people like the consensus would be that the Tech Broly is a little bit better. But they're just great, right? They can link together, which is fantastic. Like great design, like just wonderfully designed. Again, wonderfully designed units. Dokkan 2024, fantastic. They did an excellent job. I mean, just a fantastic job. Some people are a little bit more down on his kit than others. From what I've used him, you do want some dupes. He's a little dupe dependent. He definitely does feel a huge difference from 55% to a rainbow, especially with his damage. Yeah, his damage is not, it's pretty mid, 55%. Compared to like Tech Broly, 55% Tech Broly he does some work, man. I've seen really good numbers from him. But Broly can struggle there. His domain is designed smartly in the sense that like if you're running him in AGL Broly, um, you're popping his domain like right away, and AGL Broly's is comes in right when his is over. Again, the super boss issue though with Rose kind of doesn't, I guess, apply because his is later too. But um, they designed his domain in such a way that it doesn't conflict with the characters on his team so much. Um, right, because no one. Oh, because it conflicts with Slug though. If you're running Slug, that's gonna issue. But like the thing is like you're running Cell Max, and again, physical Bio Broly actually is like really good. Janemba, you're definitely running. And Broly Trio is runnable. You're running any of these guys right here, basically. Um, the EZA Tech Broly, like his basically his domain's not going to impact them, right? The characters that you're going to want to run on his team. Not to say you don't want to run Slug, but that is something to take into account, right? That those domains are going to have issues. They're going to conflict with each other. So you need to have his domain off, otherwise he's very squishy. You do need to have it go off. So interestingly designed. Fire animations. Great unit. Both units are great. I like the tech one more, but they're just both really. I mean, they did a heck of a job. Heck of a job for sure. Um, yeah, I mean Gohan. I think he's another one that a little bit like he's very powerful offensively, 55%. I mean, I see some low numbers from him a lot, but once he's built up, like pre-built up 55% is like really bad. But once he's built up, like his offensive numbers are pretty good for 55. His defense, it's one of those things like he's just really impressive with dupes. Like once you get two dupes in him, he is just super impressive. That being said, one of my favorite units, I was kind of, it's funny, I was talking about the tech one and how I like them. But like honestly, this movie in general and this Gohan and this scene, yeah, not necessarily one of my favorites. Not anything too crazy for me. But I am a huge fan of this unit right here. I love the animations, especially the standby. The Dragon Ball mechanic is kind of goofy, but at the same time, I like it because it kind of does make you have to strategize a little bit. You do have to kind of think and look and decide, right? But thankfully, his team has a lot of rainbow orb changers, so you don't have to decide too hard because you're most likely just changing it to a rainbow orb. But yeah, fantastic unit, great animation, super powerful. A little squishy though. Again, wow, he's gonna link. If this guy gets his easy A soon, I mean, if anniversary, some people are saying, it may be anniversary part of its Namek saga. Maybe easy A and very runnable, 7 out of 7 links. Because he does need a Goku, right? He does need a Super Saiyan Goku. Anyway, just a very good card. I think a little squishy though. Very squishy here, 55%. Not so much rainbowed. Um, he's gonna age really good. He's just always gonna be very impressive for damage. And I mean, if you're running him on the trios team, I mean, that's where you have fun. Yeah, I think he holds up for sure. Definitely one of the better releases. If I had to just really quickly, worldwide download celebration, I mean, I think overall they nailed it with the units for sure, especially with Bio Broly. Like they did an excellent job with free to play. I mean, that was just a cherry on top. Very good job. If I had to rate the units for me, like I think the physical trio is number one, just for what they can do to units defensively. I do think shouldn't be overstated. Now again, power creep comes in, that might wipe away a lot of those units again, unfortunately. So we'll have to see. But I'd say the trio is number one for me. Then probably that's tough between the Brolys and this, right? Int Broly's four. And then I probably would say this Gohan and then Tech Broly, but it's really close. Like it's like 2A, 2B, and then like Int Broly's 3, and then Bio Broly's 4, which is pretty good. I think that's pretty good actually. But yeah, great, great. I could keep talking about Gohan. He's fantastic. Amazing animations. I mean, just amazing animations for sure. Like, yeah, bar none. This Vegeta, I got very lucky pulling this Vegeta. I'm gonna move this here. Um, and I saw someone. I couldn't tell if it was a meme or not about him being a skill check unit. It's just yeah, he didn't get the help he needed. He's extreme class Vegeta, and he's an orb changer. He's a nuker. He's a stacker. But like you know what he is. You know what Vegeta is. He's a jack of all trades, master of none. Like he does a lot, but none of it really good. Like right here, this 20% defense raise, if this was 30, he would actually be a lot better. He just doesn't raise stack fast enough. For him being like a nuker, it just doesn't. You're not running him in slot one, and so his orb changing isn't super helpful. It's not like LR Bulma. When LR Bulma came out and she orb changed, and you would put her in slot one because she could handle it, right? unfortunately, Vegeta just can't, and he just didn't get a lot of help because unfortunately this EZA was kind of poopy. I mean, let's just not beat around the bush. Like, just I'm just not impressive at all. And they're not a slot one unit, even at their peak, even at their peak performance. You're not putting them in slot one, right? So this unit suffers from not getting help. Being a neat idea, but just not being tuned enough. Some people said this is what like Glorio, like this is what he should have been like Glorio more, and like I kind of get the idea for sure, but I look at it more like they just didn't do enough. This should have been a 30% defense raise. The attacks, whatever. I don't know. I know people get tired of hearing that, but like really, the defense is what holds this character back. Like, but then even then, like he's not like super impressive offensively until like his like turn five. You can get cooking, but you know, uh, the dirty fireworks. Great animation just doesn't do much. I mean, you're stacking attack, but like, it's I don't know. You're just not running this guy. You're just not running this guy. I mean, Inhuman Deeds is just a joke. Namek Saga, unfortunately, we got the Goku and Piccolo we're going to talk about next, and they just weren't good. I mean, they were not what Vegeta needed. Not what Vegeta needed. So, definitely one of the few fumbles of 2024. Um, Still kind of like a fun unit to use. Like, it's still fun. Like, I like Nukers just their design in the sense like it's kind of fun seeing how many orbs you can get, because you want to see that power, right? But I don't know. I think he's just a dead duck. Unfortunately, he's kind of dead in the water. I don't see something that could come out that could help him. I don't know, especially because he does hurt being extreme class a little bit. Because a lot of support types, do differentiate between extreme and super, or like domains, right? So I don't know. We'll have to see. Just one of the few misses, I think. One of the few misses of the year. And then yeah, this is Goku and Piccolo. Um, I mean, I love the art. I love the idea, but like they fumbled in a lot of ways. I mean, they had to update the game about Namek, like the way passives or like the way names trigger passives because it's like they fumbled. I think they realized like this didn't activate Nail's passive until you turned into Piccolo because you don't have the Namekian link. And so then they changed it. They changed the wording to be like, oh, Piccolo in the name or whatever, which is a nice half measure, I guess. But did it save them? Like, are they runnable? They're just not. I mean, just compare them to Gotenks, right? Like, I don't want to sit here and say like they're a fumble. Like, it's just they need more a Piccolo, really. I mean, the nail wasn't quite as good, but not enough. And they just need a Piccolo, and it's a Gohan unit. Uh, I've used them. I haven't used them enough. Piccolo's really good when you get Piccolo out, which is very easy to do. So props to that. Props to them for making easy transformations. But again, just not quite what you were looking for. Again, that EZA Int Vegeta not being, Int Vegeta Goku unit not being good, very very good. Hurts, and it just didn't help this Vegeta. So it's just kind of a downer because of that, right? Like it's not super hype. It just has a lot of things working against it to really talk too much. Is it a fumble? I don't want to say it's a fumble, but definitely one of the more low key, disappointing releases of the year for sure. Um, Goat Slug. Um, Listen, a lot of people are gonna just not like Slug. He's not like super super hype. Like, oh yeah, Slug, up there, anniversary Slug, right? No, no, no. But a lot of people have wanted him, and he did what he needed to do. Like, he is very good movie bosses. took I don't want to say a meme character, but a unhyped character, and they made him like worth summoning. Like it's like yes, Slug is worth summoning for because of what he brings to the table for the Supreme Team, the Extreme Team. I mean, he's hopefully by the time he gets his easy A, hopefully this team is still good. Which I think it will be for a while. Again, I mean, when are they gonna? I don't know why he didn't. This one, him not easy Aing, it just doesn't make any sense. Just to be frank, that was the perfect time to easy A. Anyway, whatever. Point is, this slug is great. Has a great domain. Again, having an intro domain basically. To the 3 turns, so clashes a little bit with that Broly, but the support he brings is fantastic, and he's a lot of fun. And yeah, just he's great for the extreme team. For demonic power, Namekians, he brings a lot to these movie bosses for sure. Power Vision, like he brings a lot to the table, and he's gonna age well, especially the way he's built, his damage reduction, his intro, um, his support. Like all that's gonna age really gracefully. I mean, think about it. People were still defending STR Cooler for a long time, the TUR transforming one, even when he kind of aged out. And I think this slug's gonna be really good. Definitely not like super hype, but like his kit's hype. That's where it makes up for it, right? So I like him. I like him. I think he's great. I need to use him more for sure. I want to run him more. But from what I've seen, what I have used, he's a lot of fun, and he's what extreme class needed. So huge W, huge W. One of the better releases of the year for sure. Uh, this Goku, I mean, I'm just gonna, some people are gonna be upset, but like, it's just not hype. It, it's just not a lot of, and maybe part of this is my fault, where I really got hyped at the idea of a fusion of Gogeta Blue, but he just if trying to put that aside, is he a good unit? And excuse me here for a second, I got a cough. Got a cough and drink some water. Got that out of the way. So excuse me. But I think this unit is one of those ones where it had a lot working against it, where a lot of people were disappointed that it's not Gogeta or Vegito of any sort. Um, I think a little bit of a sour note on the fact that it's the last hero celebration for sure could impact it. It's a little bit of a downer because it's just that's it. Um, the banner itself being kind of not great in my opinion, and a lot of people's opinions, right? Like just the unit choices, like Kid Fu. Yeah, I could go on and on about that. So I think it did have a lot playing against it, just popularity wise. But if you look at it just statistically, kit wise, he can hang in there. He doesn't need to be on a heroes team, which is great. Um, I mean, look at this is great, right? They really did design him well. Um, Now, this you're missing out on some of this, but yeah, he's just I don't think he's gonna age well. I just think none of the heroes units are already aging well. Uh, he's good. He's good. He's definitely one of the strongest heroes releases ever. He's just not Gogeta, and he's just it's kind of like with heroes being left up in the air of like, well, what are we gonna do? Like they said they're gonna easy A the unit still, but it's like what when and what's that going to look like, and there's no more buffs coming. I don't know, it's just a weird space. There's a lot of weirdness surrounding this unit, and I just don't think it's very hype. And he's good, he's good. I don't think he's that great though, and I just think he's going to fall off very quickly. But you know what, if I'm a hater, let me know for sure. But just is this a fumble? I think it by not being like a Gogeta, like everyone, man, we were so hyped for Gogeta Blue, man. I don't know, just disappointing. I'll just leave it at that. Disappointing, disappointing. A few more left here. So yeah, Boo is really cool. I got lucky enough. Some of these I got lucky for. Boo, again, 55% itis. For me, a little squishy. But you get a few dupes in him, and he is performing very good. He has a great little transformation here. Um, really good animations overall. The domain's really cool. Lines up. So you can use slugs first. Sorry about that. You can use slugs first and then run his. The Boo team could really use it. This Boo still runnable right here. LR Boo. Tech Boo, Tech Boo, you can get away with it. You can still run the extreme. I mean, I'm gonna take him into burst mode. Boo, red zone. So that's gonna be a good video, I think. So, yeah, very good. He just recently came out, so you kind of know what he's about. They did a really good job. I mean, right, out of all the extreme units I talked about, I mean, just early in the year, right? They did not do well. I mean, more often than not, they hit a home run with extreme units this year. There's a few in there like Rose, a little iffy, and then Ginyu, and then Frieza, but they did a good job supporting him. The Super Easy A, what was the Super Easy A again? Gohan, right? So that was a little interesting. Some people were, interesting. So we'll see. We'll see if Buu Saga, gets anything like if anniversary ends up being like a super Vegito, with the side banner unit. I mean, unless it's Carnival, but like let's just say it's a Dokkan Fest. Maybe the side banner units. We already got Evil Boo. What could the side banner unit be? I don't know. I don't know, but the thing is that right, you have Int Boo right now, who's really good. You run Int Boo with him, and then Evil Boo, the side banner unit is Dodge or Die, but he's still good. 70% dodge is 70% dodge, right? But yeah, good unit overall. Fun domain, fun to use. Definitely a huge W. The next one, Go Tank Sama. So we'll just obviously the next three are Go Tanks, Goku, and Glorio. Um, so Go Tanks, I did not pull Go Tanks. I tried. I really did. I really wanted him. I actually think he's gonna be kind of essential for some of the content coming up. If in the sense of like Majin Buu Saga team, I think if you want to run Majin Buu Saga, like you're gonna be wanting to run Go Tanks here. I mean, what is there to say? Like I've used a lot of him in terms of as a friend lead and Rainbow, and he's just fun. He is just the epitome of fun. His animations are on point. His abilities are fantastic. This I got really lucky. Like he pretty much anytime he took a super, this got activated. Um, and when that's activated, like he's invincible. So a lot of fun, great animations. I'm Out of all the units I didn't pull this year, which thankfully weren't many. I'm very, very blessed, very, very lucky. Um, I think not pulling Go Tanks is gonna bothers me the most right now. I wish I had pulled him. I wish I could have gone a little bit deeper, but with anniversary, being around the corner, and then of course the dual Dokkan Fest we just had, it's a little hard. But I do think he's gonna be one of those cards you do want. I do think, especially for Majin Buu Saga. But yeah, just a great unit. What is there to say? I mean, he's a beast offense. I mean, the numbers I was seeing out of this kid, especially I was running Easy A Goten, and oh my goodness, I mean, I was seeing like 40 million, right? Just great, just great, just great, just great. Yeah, you could get away. I mean, you could still run in Go Tanks too. You just gotta get lucky with the dodges, right? That's funny. Five links. These guys are buffed right now. So yeah, Go Tanks is great. Finish it off with these two. So I lucky enough to pull both. Got one copy of both. Have not gotten to use them yet. Been link leveling. I should be link leveling right now, but oh well. Um, Goku, I think, is a little just from what I've seen. Again, haven't used him, but from what I've seen, a little disappointing in terms of just his kit ability. He's got to build up. And once he does, he can put out some big numbers for sure. But again, you're just relying on dodge a lot of dodge. Yeah, you're just relying on dodge. That being said, Daima is pretty hype. I'm a few episodes behind, but I've been keeping up on spoilers. I mean, how can you not? Um, but the animations, I mean, in terms of hypeness, this is a really hype card. Just because the animations are on point. Daima's fresh, it's new. Um, Great unit, great release. Maybe a little underpowered, but his usage he's just gonna be. I think he's gonna be one of those units since his main defensive mechanic is dodge. If you get good dodge luck, then you're gonna be eating good. You're gonna have a good time. You're gonna see some big numbers out of this guy. Very dupe dependent though. I think even though I haven't used him yet, I think at 55%, I'm not gonna be super impressed um, with his damage. But if you got lucky and got some dupes, like he can put the work in. Don't get fooled. Like he's very good. Is he top five? I mean, the lists I've seen, top 10 at least. So I don't know. It's a little weird. It's a little weird that we have a Goku unit that's not just the best, where the unit alongside Goku is better, just flat out. And that's Glorio. Again, I pulled him, but haven't gotten a chance to use him. But I mean the proof is in the pudding, as they say. Like you just watch any videos out there, and I mean he's just going to age spectacularly. Demonic power is a category that's just going to keep receiving buffs. Um, I mean any Gohan's going to be on it. Link set, yeah, for sure. Link set's a little iffy there. Um, but Daima category, right? If we get a Daima category, which we will, I'm sure, Daima Saga, something like that. What does there say about Glorio? He just came out. We all he's fresh in our heads. His animations are kind of mid. Like, just let's be real. All right, come on now. Like, let's come on now. Like, watch Goku's and then watch Glorio's and then watch Goku's again. Um, but I mean, still just very good. Um, yeah, very enjoyable, very enjoyable. He's probably the number one unit. Is pretty comfortably, and he's kind of age proof for a while. Like again, is he Dodge or Die too? It's like, well, you just talked about like Dodge or Die. Yes, he is kind of at first, but this actually, I remember in my initial video talking about his kit, like I was like, or on the reveal. I remember talking on the live stream, the reveal. I'm like, I don't think this is gonna really be impactful. Like, I don't know, 9%, 6%. No, no, no. I was very wrong. Because it's like first turn you can super six times, so six times six is 36% defense. That's better than the 20% stack a lot of these other units have, right? So right away, that if you got lucky and got six attacks, you're beefy. All right. Um, but like this ends up actually the numbers I have seen out of this Glorio, like turn three, turn five, he you don't he's not dodge or die for long. Turn one, he's a little squishy, but yeah, he gets beefy fast. Again, disappointing. I think animations, and when it comes to hype, like I just don't think like Glorio, in my opinion, just has. I know I haven't seen all the episodes yet, but like I don't know. It's one of those things like I just feel like he hasn't like done a lot really. Yeah, I feel like there's more to come. Like I feel like he hasn't had his moment, right? But I don't know. They have advanced. They do. They definitely know. They have advanced knowledge. They already know the whole series. I'm sure they already have it planned out. So maybe this is Glorio's moment, right? Maybe Glorio really. I think I saw someone say on the timeline, Glorio's glorified travel agent or something like that, a tour guide. And so maybe that's it, right? Maybe there is no subplot. Who knows, right? Who knows what Toriyama's got in store for us? But yeah, that's really there's really not much more to say. I mean, then that's the end of the list. Again, shout out to Snowy Nemesis here for the wonderful thread and giving the idea. And shout out to all the responses too. I've seen a lot of really good quote tweets. So yeah, keep it going for sure. Um, again, 2024, one of the best years in Dokkan. Hype cards after hype cards. I mean, anniversary. How do you top Beast and Broly, right? I mean, I think it's fusions myself. I do think it's fusions. Um, People roll their eyes at it, but you know, when you see the animations and the quits and all that stuff, it goes away pretty quickly. But I mean, banger year worldwide. I mean, definitely the celebrations had some ebbs and flows, but overall, the banner units just a lot of units worth summoning for. I mean, out of all these units, like just real quick, like out of all these units, the ones not worth summoning for, like you could make an argument the gammas. It's like no, you want to summon for Beast, so you know, so it's like one, Frieza was not worth it. Two, um, three, I don't know. Not they're like a handful, right? Like a couple more maybe. Um, you know, like Roshi or something, right? But otherwise, like all these were like, oh man, I really want to spend the stones. Like even Topo, like his kit and stuff was is pretty well designed for some of the content that was out at the time. He's very easy skip, like definitely an easy skip, but like tempting though. Like he was definitely still tempting, I think. Because especially with Jiren, like what he could do. Well, then Jiren against not special pose. I don't know. Oh, just Defenders of Justice. So yeah, he's on Defenders of Justice, Jiren. Yeah, okay. So I was thinking just special pose, but okay, whatever. Anyway, talked enough about this. Um, yeah. Happy New Year, everyone. Thank you for watching. Again, if I had to pick one unit overall, my favorite unit of the year, you know, for the longest time it would have been Gogeta, but I got to give it to my boy, the trio. Um, my boys here. Very hype unit. Um, I'm excited to see how they handle whatever year 10 brings us. Because I'm just saying, Super Saiyans, Super Saiyans, Vegeta's movie heroes. Super Saiyan 4 is not, though. Would he be on All Out Struggle? Okay, hang on. I gotta know before we end the video. That Goku is, but not Gogeta. Hmm. That's a little disappointing. I'm getting ahead of myself, but that's interesting. That's interesting. Either way, great unit. My favorite of the year. Let me know in the comments what your favorite units were. What were your disappointments? But yeah, Happy New Year. Here's to Dokkan in 2025. So until next time, it's been Jumbo Shark 19. Have a good one.